Okay. I want to clarify some things for you that you guys are not aware of. We're going to do it really, really, really gently because I know a lot of you dealt with a lot of problems and have lost people due to certain diseases and illnesses, and some of you are in the process, and so on and so forth. I didn't really want to make this video, and I was just hanging out with my dad, and we were talking about the family dog, and all morning today I've had these like thoughts and explanations flooding through my head. It's exhausting for me to be thinking about all this stuff. So I hope it helps you. I don't know all of the illnesses or diseases. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we'll make more and more videos. So if you guys have more questions, just ask them in the comments, and I'll do a live video at some point later, and we'll go through them all together. First and foremost, what you guys really need to comprehend is a sense of common sense. So nature doesn't make the disease. First and foremost, establish that in your mind. God is not punishing you, and neither is nature. No one is more favored than anybody else. Okay? Certain people survive certain things, others don't, because their energy, their belief systems, and their life experiences. Now, are there people who lie about what they survived? Absolutely. I know Matilda, I think that's your first name, was talking about Anita Moorjani. Anita Moorjani is cool and all. I mean, she has a lot of wisdom, but I really think a lot of these near-death experiences are overblown, especially considering how many near-death experiences I've had, and people don't seem to take me seriously one bit, but somehow they take others seriously, and then it's just a little weird. It's almost like they're staged, people put on stage for certain reasons. Not that there's anything wrong with Anita Moorjani. I just really think people like that, and even Sadhguru and certain people who are in the public eye with more than 100,000 followers on any platform, they're put there for a reason. Okay? Now, I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Alzheimer's. Well, I'm going to tell you the stuff I have had experience with. Not personally for most of them, but I've had experience with certain of these things in my own family, friends, and relationships. Alzheimer's there's a lot of varying research regarding this, but the energetic thread, we're not looking at the picture that it painted, we're looking at the thread that was used to weave that picture. Alzheimer's is a condition that has you forgetting bits and pieces of things until you forget everything that you experienced in the present life. But your consciousness is still there. It's just that you can't remember anything in that life. So it's almost like you're a stranger or a baby. Looking at it energetically, we can see that Alzheimer's is a condition where someone does not want to remember their life. On a soul level, that's the thread woven by the fates into the tapestry of that life. That person chose on some level to forget. The reasons can be various and numerous, from massive amounts of trauma to wanting to be seen and heard and paid attention to. So the body, the mind causes self-destruction within itself. It destroys memories, it destroys certain parts of the brain so that it forgets, so that in some way it can be taken care of again. Now, please be aware, I intend no insult with any of this. I intend no offense to anybody with any of this. I know these are all sensitive topics. Please comprehend that I bring this to you with the utmost respect. But Alzheimer's is a condition by the soul that made a contract to forget so that people can, one, learn how to be more empathic and learn different methods of communication and to be there for people. And on another spectrum, which is a genuine spectrum, it's because the consciousness of that person doesn't want to remember. Most of you that have experience with people who have Alzheimer's can see this. Chemically, Alzheimer's is due to, I think, cholesterol or something, or a lack thereof within the brain tissue, like fat and stuff. I don't know exactly what the clinical terms are. But energetically, to me, it looks like the brain loses mass. And what that means is it loses information, data, light, source material. If we go down the list, let's say alopecia, which is hair loss. Hair is the connection to the energetic field. Losing hair means you're losing that connection to that field. It is easily repairable, it is easily reversible. The only thing that's required is internal connection to source, to your energetic bodies, to the earth itself. The same with Alzheimer's. It can be reversed, it can be treated if the person is seen, heard, and validated in a way to where their life is able to be processed by their mind, all their suppressed trauma. Vision loss, like blindness and things, is due to people not wanting to see anymore. They don't want to see what they're looking at. They don't want to look at their life. It can be remedied by going within, adjusting the problems and issues you don't want to deal with so that you can see the world clearly. Of course, you're going to require affirmations, medicines, different forms of herbs to remedy this. Cancerous things, they are quite literally self-loathing on a level of the soul. The thread that creates cancerous energy within the body is exactly what the word implies. Cancerous. Self-mutilation, eating the body itself, creating growth and tumors on certain parts of the body that prevent that body part from functioning properly. Whether it's lung cancer, which would mean that you don't want to take in the breath of life, you don't want to live anymore. So the body creates cancer to stop the body from breathing in that area. If it's breast cancer, it's because of a disdain, a dislike of the feminine energy within the self. The refusal to be nurturing, nourishing, supportive, compassionate, empathic, and so on at a deeper level than has already been experienced. Most of you that have experienced people with this issue can see that. Diabetes, the thread woven to create the issue of diabetes, regardless of if it's aversion to sugar or too much sugar in the blood. The blood thickens or the blood thins. That means there isn't enough fortitude within the self to allow the self to experience the joy and sweetness of life. Or it's too indulging in sweetness of life and avoiding the responsibilities of life. My grandfather had diabetes, he lost his leg, and people wouldn't let him eat anything They limited his food. They took away his ability to move. They took away his ability to see clearly. They told him what to see. They told him what to do, and he lost control. And then his body reflected that by having his leg amputated. His vision was removed. His ability to move his hands properly was lost. And then eventually, even his lungs were going, and he had to be put on a respirator. It was horrible. And the man was kind and sweet and loved life and loved nature and food and herbs and spices and delicious, hearty foods. But people mocked, really gave him a lot of crap for being so indulgent in the pleasures of life that were food and, just good experiences, lots of laughter and like wine and brandy and things of that sort. He enjoyed his body and his life kind of too much in a way. And then he had a lot of responsibility, so his coping mechanism was sweet things. He didn't want to deal with the negative aspects of it because he had really been through a lot in his life. How did that result in his body? A really deadly diabetes. Too much goodness, not enough balance of the negative. I think there's another one. It's called dissociative identity disorders, where it's kind of like people just flip from one to the other, and that thread is due to the result of people constantly having to create new personas to be heard, seen, felt, and to be validated. So if a child is abused during childhood, it protects the part of itself that was abused and creates a persona to protect that part of itself that was abused. And then when it's done, the protector part becomes a shadow self aspect, and then it creates another part, and then it creates another part, which then causes fragmentation, multiple personality disorders, and bipolar syndrome, which is the spectrum of flinging the pendulum from one personality to the next, when it's all the same personality, just different moods. Putting it plainly, each mood has its own personality in people like that. Attention deficit disorder and things of that sort are due to people expecting too much from the person and expecting them to do too much, too well, and too perfect and too flawless, and to never make a mistake, and to always be on point, to always be on time, to follow structures, to follow lead, to be a follower and not a leader. People with ADHD are meant to be leaders. They're meant to be independent, to do what they want on their own schedule, the way they want to do it, because they're meant to create a new path. When they're denied that ability, the threat of ADHD comes in and creates disorganization, mind scattering thoughts, and an inability to focus, and just, the symptoms. Overeating, or what is it called, bulimia or something, where it's like you eat and then you throw it up. It's a denial of self-care. So when you don't want to take care of yourself, and then your body requires you to take care of it, you overdo something, and then you release it because you think you have to conform to society or modern standards of beauty or whatever. So the body ingests and then removes it. When anorexia is involved, the refusal to take in food and sustenance, it is a refusal of the life force being given to you and presented to you, which means that will eventually lead to cancer, which will eventually lead to different forms of illnesses. HIV and AIDS are absolute self-hatred of the self at a deep soul level, to where the soul, the energy, starts attacking the immune system, because it's trying to passive aggressively, in a narcissistic way, damage the body itself, because the soul doesn't want the body to be doing what it's doing, because there's a massive split between the higher self and the human self. And that is not to say anything negative about anybody. Remember, this is not intended to offend anyone. But the energetic threat that creates HIV and AIDS is due to one of many reasons, but the main thread, as if the color of the thread, if we're going to pick a color, let's say orange or some shit, it's due to hatred of the self. But it's not deep enough of a hatred to where it's an instantaneous removal of life force. It's slowly, because the soul is trying to teach the human side to better its ways. I hope that makes sense to you. Remember, we have to look at all of the conditions as if they're energetic symptoms. Not that they're symptoms of the body, but energetic symptoms being expressed through the body. Energy doesn't work with chemicals and, bacteria and all that. Energy creates that stuff. So we have to look at the energy that created those conditions to create those diseases. And the word dis-ease literally means dis-ease, to be not at ease. What else can we think of? I'm attempting to go down the alphabet, but I really don't pay much attention to. Dental issues. Thank you. Dental issues can be caused by various reasons, mainly due to not speaking your truth, which causes a corrosive energy in the mouth area, which is basically withholding the energy that should be released, which then appears in the throat chakra, which then appears as an energetic issue around the mouth and in the mouth. So the more you speak your truth, the better and stronger your teeth get. The more authentic you are in your expression, the stronger and healthier your teeth are. Now, this can also be tricked by the ego, which is how some people have really, really good, shiny, strong teeth, but they're really not self-aware that much. It's because they're expressing their ego self instead of their soul self. With myself, for example, I had a very hard time expressing myself for a very long time. I would bite my tongue, I would bite the inside of my cheek, I would grit my teeth, I would have the TMG or whatever, where it's like you're biting your teeth when you're sleeping and grinding them, because of all the repressed emotions that were inside. Now, be aware that all of these can also be caused by directed energy weapons, by the foods you intake, the chemicals in the air, the chemicals in the water, the way the soil has lost nutrients and has been damaged by poisons and weed killers and all that. And we ingest all that, and then it poisons what we ingest. But again, if you have a strong source connection, then it doesn't matter what you put in your body, it matters what comes out of your body. There are stereotypes of people that have gaps in their teeth where it's said that they lie through their teeth. That is inaccurate. The gaps in the teeth are to create a pathway for the truth to come out without being blocked by the teeth. We also need to look at the structure of the teeth and what materials they're made out of, and the minerals and the energy that goes into making them, similar to bones and hair tissue. Receding gums are energetically due to wanting to pull back from the world and bare your teeth to show the world that you're afraid and you're defending yourself, that you're willing to bite to defend yourself, because you've kept your mouth shut too long, as most of you are aware. Skin aging is caused by lack of self-care energetically, not listening to yourself, not nourishing yourself, not paying attention to yourself, allowing grief to be a dominant energy in the body, which then dries out the energy, the liquid in the body, the tears, because you cry them out. And then the electricity in the body creates scar tissue underneath, which then causes wrinkles to appear on the top of the surface. Similar to lightning striking sand, it creates fulgurite, whereas lightning striking soil doesn't do anything. The soil and the moisture absorb the lightning into it, and it enriches the soil. So the more water you drink, the more food from the earth you consume, the energetic currents in your body will actually continue to sustain and nourish you, which causes a slowing down of the aging process. This can also be manipulated with technology, food, air, water, and chemicals, which is why some people age quicker and others don't. There are many reasons, both man-made and energetic. Ovarian issues in the stomach, PCOS, and things of that sort are caused by a fear of motherhood due to suppressed motherhood energy trauma. Issues with male genitalia are associated with father trauma that has been suppressed. Issues with the colon and the rectum are due to the inability or the lack thereof or an excess of releasing what doesn't serve you, to the point where some people have issues with, like elderly that have issues with holding in, I think it's called incontinence. The energetic issue of that is an inability to care for the self, so they're relying on other people because they're just not holding on to their own life force, which also connects to energetic vampirism and people stealing from those people, especially the elderly, which are supposed to be protected, but they're not as protected as they should be. What else? Eyes that are crossed. Crossed eyes, or if it's like one eye that's crossed or not, the main energetic issue of that is not wanting to look at either the past, if it's the left eye being crossed, or the right eye being the future eye, which can also be seen as the feminine side on the left side and the masculine side on the right side. So if the eye is crossed left, like if the left eye points left and it's, crossed that way, the person is usually energetically stuck in the past. If it's pointing right towards the nose, then the person is not paying attention to the past at all and learning lessons from it. They're utilizing the energy of avoidance to look towards the future and only focus on the future and avoiding the present. What else? Blindness, obviously, not wanting to see at a soul level. Deafness, not wanting to hear. Being mute, not wanting to speak. And all of these can be remedied, and the soul and God allow these things to occur so that the human being inhabiting the body can choose to be better. But if they don't choose to be better, or they don't suffer through that experience of not having their functions, then they aren't grateful for those functions, and the energy of gratitude, similar to gravity, isn't holding on to those things. So then those things get taken away so that gratitude can be expressed, and then those things are returned. What else? Children that pee their bed, or even elderly people, or anybody that pees their bed, they are afraid. They're afraid. They're constantly, the energetic thread that goes through that is fear and being rushed to do things. The other thread that goes into it is, in a way, laziness. They just don't want to get up, which then leads to paralysis eventually if that thread is continued to be woven into the tapestry, because then the legs do not move, because if you're not moving to relieve yourself, you're holding on to that tension. If you hold on to that energetic tension, it starts to affect the spinal cord and the hip area and the bladder and the kidneys and all that, which then causes massive amounts of tension in that area, disturbances, which then prevents the ability to move forward or side to side in life, which then creates paralysis of the legs because the person isn't moving or standing on their own 2 feet to support themselves. Ankle problems are issues caused by the inability to be flexible in life. Same with joint problems. People who are rigid in life usually have arthritis, which is associated with anger and tension within the self, wanting to fight but not fighting, being inauthentic to the self and not willing to bend to accommodate or compromise or improve or to be taught better. An excess of hair growth is a sign, like on the physical body, regardless of where it is, excessive hair growth is a sign of wanting to protect oneself. So the body creates tendrils that connect to the energetic body to pull the energetic body closer to the physical body as a shield. And how that reflects is physical body hair. The same is applicable for obesity. It is two parts. One part is energetic theft, and the energy is stored within the body as fat cells. And then that energy is burned off through action or maintained. The other aspect of obesity is being afraid. So the fat cells cover the body and distort its shape in one way or another to prevent being seen, to prevent being touched, to prevent being approached, to prevent your organs from being damaged, which is usually due to past life trauma or trauma in the present life of having your boundaries crossed. So if someone's afraid of being stabbed, for example, they would probably have a lot of fat around their belly because they're trying to protect their organs. Alternatively, if someone has really large breasts, they're really nurturing and loving and caring, and they have a lot of nourishing energy. But at the same time, that energy can be distorted to gain attention, to be touched and noticed because the person is really lonely on them by their own. So they create fat cells in certain parts of the body, amplifying features that they know others will find attractive to gain attention that they are not giving themselves. Hence, fake breast implants, fake butt implants. Body dysmorphia. I'm not really considering this as a disease because there's so many issues that go along with it, but there's a very large community in the world that deals with this. The issue with body dysmorphia is not that your body doesn't match your soul. It's that you are aware of a past life self and you are aware of your soul self, and your physical body does not match your perceived flawlessness of your androgynous soul self. So the body, the consciousness of the human within the self, looks at itself and let's say it sees a man, but it knows its soul is a divine hermaphrodite. So then it assumes that it is wrong and broken and that its body isn't its own. The energetic thread connecting to that is to show the person that this is an aspect of the self you have to work on to bring it into balance with who you really are. There's nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not damaged. You're simply focused on healing either the masculine or the feminine side to bring it into balance with the feminine or the masculine side. And then your body will reflect exactly what you look like. Hence, hormone replacement therapy, bringing in the hormonal levels of the other, testosterone or estrogen. The issue with that is some people do it for attention, other people do it for, kinks or whatever, but those people aren't really, this isn't really applicable to those people. But genuine body dysmorphia is simply due to an awareness of the soul self and how the soul looks and feels. And then you look in the mirror and you don't see that feeling being expressed to you. So then it creates a dysmorphic energy. Like, that's not my face, that's not my nose, that's not my hands. Well, it technically is. It's just appearing this way for you right now because you're being asked to love yourself, even if you looked like this or that. Which is why when people start transitioning, they start seeing their more androgynous self as the body is shape-shifting from male to female or female to male or somewhere in the middle, and they're like, now I feel at home. It's because you were aware of your higher self, the way your soul looks. There was nothing wrong with you as a male or a female. Nothing. And there's nothing wrong with you now after transitioning or not transitioning. You are who you are. You were simply in the body you were in so that you could learn to love your body that way as well. What else? Narcissistic personality disorder. That disorder or disease of the mind and the soul is due to massive amounts of trauma that has caused the person that is narcissistic to have been drained of their light and their ability to believe in the goodness of other people. Trauma such as that does not occur in one single lifetime. It is done through multiple different lifetimes to deplete the soul of its life force and to fuel it with hatred and negative energy, and then to bring it back over and over and over and to repeat the trauma over and over and over until the dark energy is a predominant energy instead of the light energy. Basically, it is an attempt by negative energy to destroy empathic beings and turn them into narcissists. 100% of narcissistic people are actually really empathic and natural born healers. That is why they have been corrupted to become narcissists. It is similar to the elves being corrupted into orcs from Lord of the Rings. It can be reversed, but in order for it to be reversed and for empathy to be reactivated within the narcissistic personality disorder individual, that NPD person must in some way be so heartbroken that their heart cracks open and they feel genuine pain and remorse again and love. And then that reignites and kindles the light within. It's a process, it takes years sometimes, but it can be healed through love. That does not mean that an empathic person should pour their entire being into a narcissistic person. Then that empathic person becomes a narcissistic person due to resentment, energy, and being depleted. So there has to be a balance. It takes a village to do this. It takes a community. It takes a family to heal someone that has been damaged by entities and dark energies to be so far pushed into narcissistic personality disorder. Sociopaths are a completely different story. They are pretty much almost lost to the light. Not that anyone is ever lost to the light, but they are very, very far from the light. They have no problem killing, they have no problem murdering, they have no problem taking money to harm someone because they completely lack empathy. What they do have is the intelligence of what empathy is, so they can manipulate that, which means they are pretty much working hand in hand with dark energies, which means the energetic imprint of the soul that is inhabiting that body of a sociopathic person is working with entities. I don't know how else to tell you that. The way to remedy that is through pain, heartbreak, grief, sorrow, because they are below the threshold of the emotional spectrum. They are not in the emotional spectrum anymore. So we have to go from the bottom of the barrel to the top, which means going through fear, apathy, hatred, anger, resentment, remorse, grief, denial, and then anger and boredom, and then neutrality, and then, happiness and joy and comfort and peace, tranquility, bliss, and then nirvana. Those people have experienced and chosen to experience life in that way so they can experience the full spectrum of everything life has to offer. The problem is, when they incarnate in a world such as this, they get immediately pulled into the dark side. They get abused because they are actually very powerful healers and shamans and mystics. They have a connection to those other worlds. They can travel through the entire spectrum. They can go back and forth through the world of the living and the dead. But that power becomes abused. The vessels become possessed, and they do terrible things. And then they shut off their emotions so they don't feel it. What else can I tell you? Tumors work similarly to cancerous growths, obviously, and it's due to hatred of the self, and each and every single organ functions in a different way. So hatred of the self will appear differently in the kidney, whereas it would appear differently in the leg, or the fingers, or the ears, so on and so forth. don't really want to talk about miscarriages or deaths of children in any way. There are many, many reasons for things like that. So we're not going to do any of those. What other things are there? Amnesia is obviously not wanting to remember anything to start a new life without having to die. Death itself is a reset. Erectile dysfunction disorder, or whatever it's called, is a lack of self-esteem and confidence. Vaginal dryness is due to not feeling intimate and supported and feeling like no one can give you the emotional support that you need as a woman. So the vaginal canal, which is the entryway to the holy sacred womb, becomes dry and cracked and all that stuff because it's been untaken care of by others. It's a denial of pleasure of the self. What else? I think it's called vaginal bacteriosis or something like that, where it's like a weird scent down there. It's due to energetic inability to perform proper hygiene within the body. It is also a self-hatred of the feminine energy and feminine pleasure of the self, or an over extreme pleasuring of the genital area, to which it causes a sense of get away from me innately, similar to a skunk which releases a scent through its anal glands that basically says go away. Halitosis, which is bad breath, is also a energetic threat of pushing people away, but it's also a sign of something rotten within the self, something that the self dislikes about the self that it is pushing deep down inside to avoid noticing. But other people notice it. Dental decay is an energetic sign of giving up on life. Dental fluorosis is a totally different thing that is man-made and caused by man alone. As some of you have seen my teeth, it is dental fluorosis, as well as teeth being broken due to brittleness. Issues such as that are caused by a sense of weakness of the self and not being supported. Also, not speaking your truth enough and withholding emotional expression and creativity. I mean, just imagine someone closing their mouth and gritting their teeth. It's kind of like their teeth would break eventually, right? What else? Paranoid schizophrenia is an energetic thread of a shaman individual that is refusing to acknowledge the magic of life. So what they hear and see becomes terrifying to them when it's actually not terrifying whatsoever. It's their gift. Similar to clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairalience, and I forget the other ones. They are abilities that can be beneficial or they can be seen as mental diseases. It depends on what you're ready to perceive about yourself. Dreams of grandeur and depression and those things are simply, well, dreams of grandeur is your imagination working to manifest for you. But medical professionals will tell you that it's dreams of grandeur because they are designed to tell you that by the dark forces. The purpose of that design is so that you can see your own truth and not them telling you your truth. Depression is the energetic thread of a lack of source connection. That is the only reason depression exists. You are looking for God. That's it. There's no other reason for depression. If you are depressed, you are missing communication with your creator. Therefore, your energy is experiencing a pressure, a depressurization, a removal of energy. similar to being in a spaceship, and then the spaceship depressurizes and you move into the next part. While you're in the area that is being depressurized, it feels like you're losing something. Breathing gets heavy, sadness kicks in, but then the door opens and then you go somewhere else and you move forward. If you do not move forward and you stay in a depressed state, you get flung out with depression. Quite simple, really. What else can we talk about? What else? Talked about wrinkling, teeth, skin. Oh, bones, osteoporosis and things of that sort. Weakness or overly strong bones. It's a energetic threat that is associated with the inability to support oneself. That is why many women feel like they have weak bones, because they have been relying on the man in their life to support them, which then results in anger and really difficult periods due to the woman energy, the feminine energy, knowing it is perfectly capable of supporting itself, but it has been forced into a societal belief that it requires a man. So the woman detrimentally prevents herself from supporting herself to the point where her bones start becoming weak and breaking, so that she can show her partner she needs support. The sign is also a sign towards the partner, the people in that woman's life or that man's life with bone issues are not supporting them enough. Please remember, people that experience these symptoms and these diseases and conditions are not to blame. They are learning lessons and they are teaching lessons to people around them. Similar to autism, it is not a disease, it is a gift. It is a gift that teaches people around the person how to handle others who are different without judgment. So they come in with physical appearances that are basically screaming to be judged. But that is the lesson, to enlarge a sense of empathy and intelligence and to teach new ways of doing things. So people that come in with different spectrums of autism, regardless if they look, generic or if they look unique with that beautiful face, it only means they are here to teach a new way. They are here to enlighten people. What else? Skin tone variances. I know some people have, I'm not, vitiligo, I think it's called, where they view it as a disease. Darlings, with vitiligo, it is not a disease. It is a gift for you. Your body is so in tune with the spectrum of all life on Earth that your skin tone and the melanin within the skin shifts and changes and has come into this world balancing the light and the dark. There's nothing wrong with you. You do not need to bleach or tan your skin. You are beautiful as you are. Melanin within the skin. There's a lot of talk about melanin. There is melanin in every skin. It is not just for dark skin. In light skin, it is called melanin, melanin. In dark skin, it is melanin. And then in, there's another one, melanin, and something else. And each skin tone has its own variance of it and its own amount, and it functions the same way. It is basically a solar panel for energy that comes in. Human beings are capable of photosynthesis. That is what melanin is for. It stores energy within the body. It doesn't matter what your skin tone is. Even if you're pitch black or if you're Casper the White, Snow White, it does not matter. You all have melanin. It's part of the skin. And it serves a very beautiful function. So please get at least 20 minutes of sunlight, direct sunlight per day, and you will notice a difference within 3 days. You will recognize the purpose of melanin within 3 days. What else? Eye color variances have different personality traits associated with them. People with gray eyes are usually neutral and wise, and they become the teachers. Hence why more elderly people end up having gray eyes in their later years. Really dark black irises are people who lie, and this is not detrimental, but they always have something to hide. It is a mystery. It is a shadow. It is a dark energy, and not dark as in evil, but dark as in mysterious, kept hidden, secret, which means they are probably pretty good at reading energy. People with green eyes are highly in tune with plants. They would make great botanists, great herbalists, great naturopaths, very, very high, powerful therapists, psychiatrists, empaths, doctors. People with black eyes can also be very, very powerful medical professionals. People with brown eyes are meant to be stable and supportive and nourishing to everyone around them, which is why it is a predominant eye color of the human species. We are meant to be united and to support each other. People with blue eyes are the sky. They are there to lead advancements in technology. They are there to lead advancements in all sorts of fields, and they are there to bring clarity to situations and to bring peace. They are highly emotional, they are highly empathic, and they are highly, highly, highly self-aware of their own beauty, which means their duty is to bring beauty to others and to help others see their own beauty. People with hazel eyes or eye color mixtures are variants of many of these things. People with heterochromia are usually two-spirit people who have both male and female, and each side has a different personality aspect that is asking you to pay attention to it, such as David Bowie. What else? What else? Birthmarks, beauty marks, the skin tags. There is nothing wrong with them unless you find that there is some cancerous energy behind them, and that cancerous energy only forms due to self-hatred of having that mark or blemish, perceived blemish on your skin. There is nothing wrong with it. It is simply a mark from your past life, your parallel life, or you chose to come into this world accentuating your beauty instead of coming in with a blank canvas that has no markings on it. What are they called? Tiger stripes, stretch marks. They are due to the energetic imprint of body mass changing at an accelerated rate. There is nothing wrong with it. You are not overweight. You are not underweight. Even I have certain stretch marks. Why do I have them? I have no idea. I've never weighed more than 130 pounds. But energetically, physically, I have a couple of them. A really odd place at the side of my hip. Why? I genuinely don't know. But the energetic thread of why it occurs is due to quick and immediate or prolonged shifts to body mass index. This is why pregnant women and men with larger bodies have certain stretch marks. There is nothing wrong with it. It does not mean you're fat or skinny. I'm 120 some pounds and I have stretch marks just around my hips. It has nothing to do with obesity. It has nothing to do with undereating. It is an energetic thread that shows, in a way, the touch of energy flowing through the body in those specific areas. So if you have, for example, I will use myself on this example, stretch marks are on the hips. It means that I'm capable of having my body expand to a size really large, really quickly and easily, and to come back down to a small size really quickly and easily. It's a gift. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have stretch marks, please do not be embarrassed of them. They are your tiger stripes. They are your mystique skin cells allowing you to shapeshift with ease. You can remedy them if you'd like with coconut oil, shea butter, and honey mixtures and rose water with sunlight. Very easy to get rid of. But why would you want to? They're your gift. They make you unique. Unibrows. Unibrows are due to the balance of masculine and feminine energy, past and present cohesion and alignment, and a sense of crowning your eyes. That's the energetic reason. Once it appears in the body, people have social constructs as to why it is. Energetically, it is a gift. It is a sign of beauty. What else? I think we already went through wrinkles, didn't we? Dehydration, electric current, and repeated movement of certain body parts due to certain emotions being felt repeatedly in those body parts, such as people having smile lines or grief lines around the mouth and eyes due to the face being moved in a position of grief, sadness, or laughter, or anger. Carrying weight underneath the belly button is an energetic imprint of a lot of feminine energy being stored but not released. Carrying weight above the belly button, in just around the stomach area, is attempting to hide the feminine energy by over exaggerating the masculine energy, such as beer bellies. As you can see, there's your validation and confirmation. Alcoholism is due to people with shamanistic, energetic, and mediumship abilities that refuse to acknowledge their gifts, so they drown out the voices they hear with alcohol. Addictions of any kind are due to entities, which means the person with addictions is highly psychic, and they are given the energetic gift, the thread of spirit communication. So the best thing you can do to get over an addiction is to commune with nature, practice shamanistic, mystic, telestic abilities. People with overactive minds, a lot of air energy in their charts, should really be practicing astrology. Thank you, Swati from the Vedic Life Coach, for that tip a few years ago, because she mentioned that I had a lot of air in my chart, and then I started researching astrology, and it actually helped. Dehydration of the body is obviously not allowing yourself to feel emotions, the liquid, the joy of life. What else? Intestinal issues are due to not letting go of what needs to be let go of. Parasitic issues are due to victim mentality, allowing yourself to be eaten or parasited upon due to wanting to be helped or heard. Kind of like crying wolf. What else? Self-perceived ugliness or lack of confidence is an energetic threat due to lack of support and validation during life. You are not ugly, you just have not been treated kindly. What else? I think that's it. If you guys have any questions or you want me to channel some more of this out for you to bring clarity out, if you need me to talk to you about any of this stuff on a one-on-one basis, if you need someone to cry, like a shoulder to cry on, we're all here for you. The comment section is open below this video. Feel free to ask anything you want to ask, and we can have a discussion. There will be a part 2 of this eventually if there is interest in it, and I will make it a Q&A video with live chat so we can sit down and you guys can ask, and I will channel the answers for you through God, and I will give you my own wisdom and insight to these questions. I hope this helps you. There is a great book you can buy by Louise Hay. It's called You Can Heal Your Life. It is fantastic. There is also Metaphysical Anatomy on YouTube, I believe, and she has books published. I have not read any of her books. I have seen 3 videos from her channel, though I have read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, and I highly recommend it. I recommend both Metaphysical Anatomy's website as well as Louise Hay. They are invaluable tools to you to have in your arsenal. I also recommend picking up a book on palmistry as well as pressure points in the body, as well as herbalism and herbal medicine. Every disease on the face of this earth is caused by energy and mankind. Every disease has a plant or plant combination to cure it. So, medical industry, if you are listening, it is your time here and now to create a better future with humanity. You do not need to take birch trees and destroy them to make aspirin when we can take birch bark, boil it, and drink the water safely. Okay? You can make more money growing forest of birch trees and maple syrup and different herbs and flowers and berries and fruits and vegetables and herbs and so on and so forth, compared to creating factories to create medications. You will gain more money, as many of us have told you for decades and decades and decades, by being honest and working with the human collective instead of attempting to poison them and then drag out the healing process. Okay? And in the process of reestablishing and restructuring the medical industry, working together with the medical industry, we can repopulate the earth with plants that are beneficial instead of factories. You can still keep your factories if you like, but their purposes must be altered to provide homeopathic remedies. The modern medicine system works, but it is not something that will sustain human life for another 100 years, if even another 10 years, at the rate of the population being unable to truly give birth the way it should due to the massive amounts of side effects. The human species will probably die out within 100 years or more, maybe 200 years, if we continue this medical path, which means you guys won't get any more money. So, we must work together, the narcissistic industries, the medical industries, the homeopathic, and the hippy-dippy, new age community or whatever. The good Mother Earth has given us everything we need, and the universe is here to provide for us all of our energetic requirements. If we can utilize your evil genius energy, medical industry, to create multiple forms of medicines for the life forms on Earth, we can all get along better, okay? Instead of fighting each other and having all sorts of absurd arguments all over social media over something we can't fix because somebody decided to take the keys. All right. What else? Yeah, I think that's it for now. Have a pleasant day. If you have any questions, comment box. Thank you very much. I love you. Take care of yourself.